Happy almost Halloween, Suns fans. This is the Suns Jam Session podcast coming to you live after the Phoenix Suns defeat the Houston Rockets and now push the record to 5-1 on the season. Yeah, it's our Halloween episode, so I'm stupid is as stupid does. It happens sometimes. Have a nice day. And I'm joined by Matthew, who is the Ice King from Adventure Time.
Yeah, last year it was my costume. I actually had blue paint last year, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not even dressing up tomorrow, but this is leftovers.
So that's what the jam session people get is leftovers from Matthew and no blue paint on his face.
It's close enough.
Alex Kroll, I'm convinced Void is actually Jesus.
Yep. Hippie Jesus, dude.
I'm Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump. The seat was taken tonight, and the Phoenix Suns would not allow the Houston Rockets to sit down. They didn't even give them a chance to lead in this game. It's a fun game tonight, man. It's a fun game. Playing Houston is always it's always interesting because you take a look at a team like the Houston Rockets, and it reminds you of once upon a time, back when the Phoenix Suns were perennially, a lottery team, and were trying to build assets through the draft. And I think that the Houston Rockets have done a lot better job than the Phoenix Suns have building assets through the draft. I mean, we got Booker. We had like Warren, and then we went Booker, and then we just kind of went ape shit for a while there. You know, it was like Bender and Len and Chris and Hewlett. I mean, it was just like a bunch of guys who sucked, whereas they brought in a bunch of really, really good athletic guys. And, you know, they made a game of it tonight, Matthew.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I thought it would be like a scrimmage in the first like few minutes. It seemed like, the Suns would have their way. But you're right, dude. The Houston Rockets, they have big athletic dudes. Like they're an annoyance. It kind of reminds me of when you talk about USC as a football team.
Yeah.
How they're just totally
Big.
just athletic, big. That's them. And they're well pieced together. We'll see how it works out. They talk a lot. They seem like they communicate. Sometimes not in the right way on the court, but you can see that they care. Unlike some of our old draft picks who didn't give a shit.
Yeah, they were getting into it a little bit on the court, weren't they?
Yeah, that's fine. I like to see that, right? Or no?
Yeah, of course. Of course, when it's the opposition, it sucks when it's like our team, and we've seen that in the past with our team when they start yelling at each other, yelling on the sidelines. It's like you don't want that. That's a bad culture. You know, the Houston Rockets, again, young team, have won only one game on the season. I didn't want to make it 2 tonight. They went 3-0 on this week. Fantastic week for the Phoenix Suns. And I think that, again, on Devin Booker's birthday, he came in. Thomas Dennett says it in the chat. Rockets will be tough 3 to 5 years. I agree with that.
If they keep it together,
keep it together.
Things are always traded around. These players are gone next year. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they have like one player on that team left over for next year. That's just the way the NBA is. You know, in the NFL, you can build a team kind of, but the NBA, everyone switches around so much. I feel like.
Yeah. Let's see. Metal Mike asks, "What is your background, Lissy?"
Oh, it's my house. I'm the Ice King, so that's my pad. That's where I live at.
Ice King from Adventure Time. For those of you who don't,
yeah. Oh, because there's the Ice King from Game of Thrones, huh? Is that the Ice King?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's like the main dude, Ice King. Yeah.
Well, shit. Well, you're the Ice King from Adventure Time. I'm Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump. This is my Bubba Gump Shrimp Company hat right here. And Mama said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know when the sun's going to whoop that ass. All right. Fun show. Again, welcome to the Suns Jam Session podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voya. You can follow Matthew on Twitter.
I'm Matthew Lizzie.
And, of course, follow the show at Suns Jam on Twitter because you never know when you're going to have an opportunity to win a little bit of money.
The Suns Jam Session.
Bet on it. Bet on it. Bet on it. Bet on it.
Bet on it. Brought to you by Sahara Bets, the newest place to win some money.
So before the game today and every game day, we're throwing a little bet out there through Sahara Bets. Today was the over-under on Phoenix Suns total points, 120.5, Matthew. 84% of our Jamsters voted on that and said that, you know what, the Suns are going to hit the over on that. They did. It was 124. I thought that was a really, really good line. It was a tough one because you just didn't know exactly how the game was going to go. But that being said, we're going to do a shout out to Joe from Charlotte at Legendary Joe. He is our winner. He said over probably around 125. He's the winner. He gets some free bets from Sahara Bets. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to everyone else here. Just for watching.
Congrats, everyone. And I love the Suns.
Very well said.
I'm so confused by myself. I keep seeing myself. I don't know what's going on. And I was looking up Kendall Jenner. Someone said Kendall Jenner's Halloween costume. Did you look at it? So I was looking it up. It's pretty nice.
What was it?
It's what's the Woody's girlfriend from Toy Story? What's her name?
Daisy or something?
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, the cowgirl one, right?
Cowgirl. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
All right, well, that's what she was.
That's very anticlimactic. I'm like, yeah, well, fuck it. Well, it's a reminder: subscribe, rate, and review wherever you are listening to this podcast. If you're watching along live on YouTube, hope you're dressed up too. Hit that thumbs up button. And Matthew, I know you're popping a nice cold beer open tonight, right?
I am, yeah. I got me latex lavender right here.
Nice. And I had me about 15 Dr. Peppers. So I'm going to have me one more Dr. Pepper. And pop them if you got them, Suns fans. Let's talk about this win over them Houston Rockets. Go back to Greenville, Alabama. A 124-109 victory by the Phoenix Suns. And although they ended up winning by a total of 15 points, didn't always feel that close. Brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, were you surprised when Monty Williams chose to go with Bismack Biyombo over Jock Landale to start this game?
No, not to start. I knew Bismack would be the guy just because last game he came out in the second half and played with the first unit. Looks so good. I would say maybe his chemistry with Chris Paul helped that, but I feel like Chris Paul does such a good job with all the big men. But it just shows you like the way that he was receiving the ball all night from Chris Paul, like he just knows what to do. And I mean, Chris Paul makes big men look like that, but it just seems so simple for him. And they haven't had a whole lot of like on the court time together. But I was more shocked, of course. We'll probably talk about it, but Saric didn't play at all. So that was really fucking
That's what
weird.
I'm more shocked of.
It seemed like Aiden being gone, there was a hole in my soul. I was like, there's a lot of minutes missing from somebody. I'm like, oh yeah, it's Aiden, but then also Saric. I'm like, I don't know what's going on there, but no, John, I was not surprised.
No, and I don't think I was either. I think we talked about a little bit on the last podcast how Jock Landale thrives with that second team unit. He's kind of the heartbeat, the soul, if you will. Maybe Campaign's the heartbeat, but he's definitely like the muscles. He's the hammer.
Yes.
He's the one who executes and leads with aggressiveness and force. So I didn't think that Monty Williams would, kind of swirl up and take that whole first team unit and flip it on its head simply to put Jock out there, because Jock needs a little bit more usage than Bismack does. Bismack can kind of fall back and play the role in which he's kind of excels at. And you saw that. I mean, at the end of the day, Bismack Biyombo 1 for 1 from the field. He had 5 points because he ended up at the free throw line a bunch. He had only 5 rebounds. He had all those fouls initially, but he had 5 block shots, Matthew. Like, that's where Bismack Biyombo comes in. That's where, if you're going to talk about Biz. That's where he excels. And it was interesting, to your point, how he had 3 fouls in his first 9 minutes played. And then Jock came out. He had 4 fouls in the first half. And they brought in Torrey Craig to play the 5 to end that first half rather than bringing in Dario Saric. Why? Like, why not just throw Dario out there a little bit? Again, there's a little hole in my heart, little hole in my soul. And, kudos to Monty because he's sticking to his guns like he typically does. It's not like the Suns are losing Because if the Suns were losing, we'd be like, where the fuck is Dario? We'd start like rioting in the streets. No one would know what we're rioting about. We'd be dressed in our costumes as such. And there's like, that guy's yelling, Dario? What the fuck is a Dario? Like, so they would have no idea what's going on. But at the same time, like, I was interested in how he didn't get any play tonight. But, you know, good, bad, or indifferent. He's healthy. You know, he's not getting injured if he's if he's sitting on the bench the whole time, I guess. I don't know. I saw like they cut to him on the bench and somebody was giving him like a back massage. Dario's living the dream right now, man.
Well, was it someone that worked with the team?
Yeah,
like
I think
Tom Brady's
so.
guy or no?
No, it was Kendall Jenner dressed up as Jesse from Toy Story 2.
Dang, man. Yeah, I guess Booker wouldn't care by now. I mean, they've been together for so long. You got to start sharing. I think that the thing is with Sarge, I think it's a trade. It has to be because, like he said, he's healthy. He was getting a back massage, but if he was hurt, they would say something. Now that he's just sitting there, and this is a game where these guys coming off the bench, especially Biyombo, they're playing extended minutes they're not used to. Yeah. It is a team that, you know, I mean, you can kind of get away with some sloppy play like the Suns kind of had tonight and still pull out at the end like they did. Like they knew that was going to, I think that was the whole game plan, just keep it close and then pull away, I guess, towards the end, maybe. But having that being said, I just think that it's a strange thing because Sarge can bring a lot to a game like this where he can just, you know, get his feet underneath him. I mean, he hasn't played in forever. He was playing in the European Basketball League, but there's a difference between that and now where he has to kind of get into shape if he wants to be on this team. And you can just tell it's not going to be it. That is just weird to me because I'm just like, how do you sit there and you know they might be behind the scenes working out a trade and you're just sitting there waiting to be traded? That must be such a weird feeling. I know that's part of the business, whatever, but still, it's very strange. And it's kind of out there to where we kind of know now. It was kind of a thing where we speculated, but it's like we know now it's going to be a trade. It has to be.
Yeah, it's got to be. But I like what Low Sun says in the chat. He says, or he's not in basketball shape yet or mentally not ready. And I think that could be a part of it as well. You know, we don't know if Dario, you know, I mean, basketball shape, yeah, I feel like he was on his way back considering he played in the EuroLeague, but maybe mentally he's just not there. And I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to one simple thing. Is the guy who's taking his minutes is playing out of his mind.
Jesus, this is a nice limo.
Yes, it is. Now suck my
Jock Landale.
Jock played 23 minutes tonight, was 6 of 9 from the field, had 16 points, had 7 total rebounds. I mean, you know, just another fantastic and 16 points? I think those all came in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, all those came in the first half. I mean, he was the one. It was him and Devin Booker who just kept this team afloat. And as you mentioned, like, you know, this is one of those, you know, quit playing with your food kind of games, right? Like, because the Suns were playing with their food tonight, if you will. The Houston Rockets had no business being in this game. But the Phoenix Suns decided, you know what, we're going to shoot 43s tonight. And we're only going to make 12 of them. We're going to shoot 30 from beyond the arc. We're going to get out-rebounded in this game, 36-49. And that's a recipe for disaster if you do that. If you let a team out-rebound you by 13 and you shoot 30% from beyond the arc in shooting 40 shots, like you are asking to have a team like the Houston Rockets stay in this game as long as possible. But because of Jock Landale and Devin Booker, but those high-efficiency shots, the putbacks, you know, the fact that Landale, of those 7 rebounds that he had, 5 of them were on the offensive end.
Yeah,
that was absolutely massive for this team tonight.
I feel like he grabbed like almost every Devin Booker miss tonight and just put it right back in. But Jock, dude, I swear he's getting bullied around a lot. I'm not saying bullied like he's getting taken advantage of, but just these guys think they can push him around. And sometimes like they can, but it's always like the next possession where before he got bullied around a little bit, gave up an offensive rebound. Then he's like, all right, now I got to step up a little bit. Then he kind of takes over. Then he's kind of just like unstoppable in a way where he just was always there for the board, always tipping it. And he's always a guy you don't have to worry about him kind of taking the night off. I mean, it is Halloween tomorrow. You got the parties. You got Devin Booker's birthday tonight. Yeah. It's just a game. It's kind of like it's like the school day or the work day Wednesday before Thanksgiving or something like that, right? It's kind of like you just want to get it over with. That's what it seemed like with the Rockets. The Rockets are that Wednesday right before Thanksgiving where it's it's a shitty game. It's like, dude, I know we're gonna win this, but we have to go out there and perform. And this team, of course, will not take a night off. But Jock, you don't have to worry about that, dude. The way he opens the door for those passes inside too, he like creates an entry where he just like he'll box out his guy, and he just makes it easy for whoever has the ball at the top of the key to give him the ball. Like that's just his thing. And he keeps doing that over and over again, where he's just making it easy for him and himself and his teammates, man. It's something that is continually impressing me because it's something that I didn't expect to last this long. I actually thought he would be a guy that was like every other night. He'd be like, the guy to kind of take over off the bench. But it's so consistent. It's happening all the time, man. And his brother Jake Paul's there to cheer him on, dude. I'm super excited for this guy, right? Now he has his family moving into town. So very cool.
I guess Jake Paul was there. Obviously he had the fight at Diamond Desert Arena or whatever the fuck it's called last night. And I guess he was there, to help out with the dunks during the second quarter. And everyone was like, yeah, oh, boo. And they booed him and such. But no, you're right. I mean, the crazy thing about Jock, to your point, Matthew, is his consistency. Like, every game getting this version of him has been unbelievably impressive, and he's a guy who could start for Houston. I think that's without a doubt. We were having that conversation probably about 2 or 3 pods ago. It's like, is he a starter in the NBA? Well, for Houston, he is. You bet your ass he is. He had a crazy good second quarter. He has above average hands. That game, tips in basketball.
Yeah.
He's the guy who dominates at tips. Because that's what he was doing all night. It's like Devin Booker missed. He's like, tip. 2 points, 2 points, 2 points. I mean, he was doing that shit all night long. And, again, the fact that he plays with such energy and such consistency for this team is something that I hope continues for the season because, the 5-1 Phoenix Suns, everyone's talking about the cohesiveness of their bench unit. And it really starts with Jock Landale and the energy that he brings and the efficiency that he brings. The fact that he can come in and, again, we're not we're not losing the plus minus to the opposition's bench units because of players like Jock Landale. He puts the ball in the basket. Now, overall on the night, he was a 0 plus minus. And even that, like, that's what you want. It's when your bench units give like -10, -15. That's when you lose games. And if you look at like the Rockets, like that's kind of what happened to them is a lot of their secondary guys come in and they're just young. They don't know how to score. They don't know how to play in that manner or be that efficient. And ultimately that hurts your team.
Yeah, keep the game even, keep the momentum up, keep like the distraction of I feel like when you're on the bench and you're coming in with the bench unit on the opposing team, sometimes other teams, it's like there's a lot of mismatches out there. And I think when another team's out over on the bench waiting to come in, they see Jock come out. I think it's something where it's kind of like, I know these guys, they want to go and prove a point, but it must be frustrating because I think a lot of guys, especially like when they retire or whatever, they always talk about the dudes that, I hate that fucking guy. God, I hated going against him. Like they might never admit it right now, but Jock, I think now is that guy where people are like, dude, I hated that guy. I didn't want to play that night. Like Eddie Johnson would talk about, like, just they go off about these dudes they hated, and he's that guy. He is.
Well, he beats people to spots. He's got some Dennis Rodman to him because, like, he is instinctively a great rebounder. And that's one of those things, again, that until we saw the tape, until we saw him actually play, it was just kind of assumed. You looked at his numbers, you saw that he played in the NBL in Australia, and he was an MVP down there. So, he has some ability. But how does that truly translate to the NBA? Well, what we're seeing game in and game out is how it translates. It's, he has these instincts that are just, they got to drive the opposition crazy. They box out correctly. They do everything right. And he's jumping to the left when they're boxing out on the right, and they're like, because he knows that that's where the ball is going to end up. But again, like you have to keep that momentum going when the starters are off because you got people like Devin Booker who need them.
Big Dick Booker.
Point performance for Devin Booker. He did so on 24 shots tonight. He was 14 of 24, 1 of 7 from beyond the arc. He added 6 assists and had 3 total rebounds. He did have a steal as well. Devin Booker, 26 years old, man. 26 years old Devin Booker is on this team. And you take a look at it, he's been playing with the team since he was 19 years old. And who he is and who he's become as a player is just unbelievable because, when I take a look at my notes, what I wrote next to Devin Booker is just, he's so good. Like, he's just so good, and he's somebody who currently he is 6th overall in points in Phoenix Suns history. He's 2nd in points per game at 23.6. He's 9th in assists. He's 7th in field goals made. He's 2nd in 3-point made and 6th in free throws made. He's the 6th youngest guy to hit, to have as many points as he has at the age of 26. I mean, what he does and how he does it night in, night out, it's almost pedestrian because you just expect it. But another 30-point game, 4 out of the 6 games to start the season, he's averaging 29 point, I think 6 points per game now. I mean, it's ridiculous how smooth and how easy he makes it look.
Yeah, and I think he was kind of surprised tonight. I mean, he started 0 for 3, and I just think he kind of thought like it'd be an easier game, but a lot of it was kind of wide open early for him. But I don't think he's really used to that, and I think he wasn't as determined to really shoot the ball as much or make a play. When he started 0 for 3, he just seemed kind of hesitant. And some of his passes were kind of lame tonight where they were almost turnovers. Like he was in the lane a few times just throwing it at people's feet. Really fucking strange. It was kind of a weird
it's like
night.
Kyler Murray.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, he throws it at people's torsos, all right. Or hits him in the torso every time. I don't even know.
He hits him in the back of the head.
My team just scored 49 points today. So
yeah,
woo! I think that Booker found it easy tonight, but sometimes I feel like he could have just kept shooting in the first quarter. It just was a weird game from him still, but he still put up big numbers. And then, of course, he comes in with Chris Paul in the end, and they kind of finish it off. He was kind of held off too late. I like how Monty kind of kept his guys coming in super early in the fourth. Like he just kind of waited till like the 4 or 5 minute mark, and then they came in. Because he wanted to play the bench more, and of course he didn't play Sarge, but those guys kind of seemed like they were spent, going into the fourth final 5 minutes. So Booker comes in, hits a big shot, Chris Paul does it, then they're ready to go. I think these kind of games throw off a competitor like Devin Booker, where they're a young team in the Rockets and they don't know how to defend them, and it's just he's looking for certain things on offense and it's not there from the other defender. So I think it kind of throws him off a little bit. And that's what it looked like tonight. It just looked like he was just a little off tonight.
Is that what it looked like?
Yeah, it's just a tiny bit.
It looked like
still fucking great numbers, man.
Well, it looked like he was thinking about his birthday party tonight. He's just like, he came out, he's a little distracted. He's like, yeah, we're playing against the Rockets. So, I'm going to come out a little distracted, short arming a couple shots, had a ton of open threes. I mean, the threes they took, he was 1 for 7. The threes were wide open. I mean, he was wide open all
exactly.
night. I don't know how he got so open, but then I remembered it. It's like, hey, they're playing the Houston Rockets. Toddy Mason, one of our elite jamsters in the chat. If you want to become an elite jamster, hit the join button on the YouTube channel. Says, you guys see the MVP power rankings had Mitchell at number 4 and Booker at number 9. Shake my head.
This is going to happen all year.
It is. That's exactly
because Mitchell
what I was
will get
say.
really good numbers with that team, dude.
Yeah, he's averaging 32.2 right now, and he's doing so in an efficient manner. And like you said, he's going to get a ton of points on that team. Luka Doncic right now is averaging 36.7 points a game. 36-7. Like, I know it's early. It's 6 games in for the Mavs. 36-7 for Luka. I think he had 44 tonight. So Devin Booker, who's, just shy of 30, like, you know what? He'll be efficient. He'll have great numbers. What I want from Devin Booker this year is 2 things. 1, I want a championship, and he wants a championship. And 2, I want him to break Tom Chambers' 27.2. Like, that means more than a scoring title to me. Donovan Mitchell can score fucking 45 points a game. I don't give a shit, as long as the Suns win the playoffs.
Yeah, and he's out in the east side. And what sucks is like last year is everyone was off of Mitchell. Now he gets traded. Now it's going to come back around. That conversation where a lot of people had the Mitchell and Booker thing, it's going to come back because the number is going to be there for Mitchell. Mitchell will have a lot of oh shit moments this year, and now we have to defend Booker again that he's better than Mitchell, which he is. Yes. It's just Mitchell has a good team around him. He plays in the East, and now it's just like he has his time to really go off. Like he wants to prove himself even more this year now in Cleveland.
Well, and I think that another thing that benefits him in Cleveland is something that we're going to see on Tuesday will hurt him in Utah. When we play the Timberwolves on Tuesday, a big problem that they're having right now is the paint is pretty clogged up with Rudy Gobert. Like that's just kind of who he is, right? So
Yeah.
like Spida Mitchell, as great as he was in Utah, still had a challenge like trying to get to the hoop a lot of times because the defense and the gravity that lived around Rudy Gobert would be sucked in when he would go there. They don't have that there now, man. They got Jared Allen, they got Evan Mobley. These guys know how to play on the perimeter, so it opens up the lanes for him. And he's just, I mean, every night it's a highlight dunk. Every night it's a highlight dunk for Spida Mitchell. So again, like score 45 a night, man. Do what you do. Score your jersey number. Like as long as Devin Booker, like him scoring 30 points a game is just awesome to me. It's everything I want from Devin Booker.
Yeah, me too.
Mick G Blue in the chat says, do we think Book is a lock as a fan vote in All-Star this year or just a coach media vote in? What do you
he'll
think?
never be the fan vote. I don't ever see it. There's so many.
I think you're
there's
right.
so many
I think
dudes.
there's too many haters.
It's not. I think it's just the highlights over Book. I really do. I think it's just what people see. And I mean, if Mitchell was having this year in Utah again, then it would be another competition with that. But you have Luka. I don't even know if he'll be a point guard this year. I think he was a forward last year. But it's always like the thing with him. Well, now that Chris Paul's kind of out of the picture too, that helps.
That's what I'm saying.
But I just think it's always going to be an issue, dude. Ja and Steph Curry, those are always going to be the guys, as long as they're healthy and putting up big numbers and big flashy highlights, they're going to be the number 1 and 2. And it sucks, but that's just the way it is. And I'll settle for that. I don't really give a shit, right? we got excited last year.
You're right, Matthew. You're right. That's just
right.
the way it is. You have magic legs, Jenny. No, you're right, 100%. He'll be a coach media vote in because every coach and media knows that Devin Booker is an elite guy. But yeah, when you have Steph Curry and Ja Morant doing what they do and just creating highlight reels, I mean, when you watch Devin Booker highlight reels, it's just him hitting middies all day long. Guess what? Like, people don't get off on the midi. They get off on the long threes and turning around before it even goes in the hoop and the highlight dunks that Ja Morant does. And that's what gets you as starters in the All-Star game. What's interesting will be in the All-Star game when Devin Booker's out there playing, notice that he'll be in there at the end of the game when it matters. Because if they're trying to win, they know that Devin Booker's a winner, and that's when they want him in there.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Sure. Why not?
No, I think honestly, yeah, I guess he is. But tonight was kind of like there's some plays he made, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like sometimes I'm like, that's just so fucking stupid. What are you doing? Like he still has those moments.
Of course, every player does, though.
Yeah,
every player does.
I know.
So God, nobody's perfect except Michael Jordan.
Lights, Cameron, action.
Cameron Johnson tonight looking a little bit better out there. He was 7 for 15. He shot the second most field goal attempts for the Phoenix Suns tonight. He had 19 points, Matthew, 5 of 11 from beyond the arc and 7 total rebounds. How happy are you with his performance this evening?
It was okay. I think most of them came in the fourth quarter, right? A lot of those shots. I'm actually trying to look up his shot chart really quick because I think a lot of those threes, 3 of them came in the fourth quarter. So
that's
2
when he started hitting his threes, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that it's good to look at the box score and see 7 makes and the 5 of them are threes. But then, I mean, there's a thing inside me where it's like in a game like this where you're playing against the Rockets team that don't know how to defend, right? They're just bodies that are very athletic and big, like we mentioned before, but they don't know how to defend. So I wanted to see him attack the basket more and do more of that. It wasn't too crazy. There wasn't anything that really stood out for me. I know that they mentioned like he watches his highlights after every game of himself, just watching how he can improve. And that's good. I just feel like this dude has a little bit of a longer way to go before he's actually cemented as like a number 4 or number 4 for this team, like going forward. It's just, there's a lot of things missing still from his game, I think. In a win like this, so it's just, I feel like it cures all. Towards the end, 5 minutes, it's still kind of not really a close game, but the Suns aren't blowing them out. But then you get like the threes from Cam, like, oh yeah, Cam, nice. Like, here you go. Those are the big shots. Yeah, that's him.
That's what he should be doing.
Yeah, that's what he does for sure. And I love that so much. There are just things that he needs to work on, getting to the rim and all that shit. He'll figure it out, but those are the things he needs to improve on and show us that he has in his arsenal before we can actually cement him as that 4th guy. I think he has a little bit of a longer way to go. Maybe after the All-Star break, we'll start seeing more of that, but it's a long season, man. So that's the one guy, because I feel like Mikhail's kind of who he is now.
Yeah, and I like who he is.
Me too. Yeah. And then DA is too. So Cam is our one guy we're going to be watching this whole year to see how he does.
Whoa. Matthew just pulled the beard down. That was
It kept falling
terrifying.
down, so I just pulled it down.
Wow. It's like, man, for those of you listening, you are missing out. I'm telling you, go to the YouTube channel. You can see me, what I look like with hair. You can see what Matthew looks like if he was like 700 years old. He kind of looks like the guy, like, I'm Mr. Snow Miser. I'm Mr. Snow, or whatever.
What is that? What
From
is
like
that
the
from?
old, like the Rudolph, like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
remember
I love
what
that.
it was Chris Kringle. It was Chris Kringle.
Oh, the one yeah. That guy
the-
was creepy.
The story of Chris Kringle. Yeah, that guy was creepy. The Daddy Warlock. Or
That was
something.
Ice King. That was the Ice King too.
Metal Mike says Voida looks like his name should be Jethro. All right, man. Here's what I got to tell you about the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Here's what I got to tell you about Cam Johnson. No, like, here's how I look at Cameron Johnson. He's a complimentary player. Like, is he a starting four? Yes. Do we have expectations for him within the confines of that role? Absolutely. But when he goes for 19-7, like, that's where I want him to live. Like, if he can live at 19-7, like you were saying that he has stated, he goes back and he looks at his highlights at the end of every game. So what you're telling me is he spends like 3 minutes on YouTube because it's like he doesn't have a ton of highlights, right? Like, he just doesn't have a lot there yet. He's not built into that. He's growing into his game. He's growing into what his role truly is with that starting unit. It's not the same as the previous unit where, you know, he was the aggressor. He was the 3-point shooter. He was the guy who would take it to the rim all the time. Like, there's a lot of deferment that has to occur when you're playing around Devin Booker, when you're playing around Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton when he's healthy, Chris Paul, obviously. So I think that he's learning a little bit how to get to his spots and just be ready, because that's what it's going to be with him. It's the same thing as Jay, right? When Jay was a starting four, he wasn't out there trying to create offense. I think we can count on one hand how many times he actually drove into the lane. He's just a catch and shoot 3-pointer. You know, that's where he lived. Cameron Johnson has more athletic ability, and I think our expectations are higher of that. But I think that what he did tonight is you almost saw him work it out throughout the game, right? Early in the game, he was, you know, trying a little too hard, trying to get to spots, trying to create and off the bounce and shoot threes rather than just being a catch and shoot three guy. He had that one great drive and he just like missed the layup. That was kind of frustrating. And by the fourth quarter, you know, he settled in and realized, like, listen, I just need to hang out over here in the corner. Book's going to hit me. I'm going to be open. And in that fourth quarter, he was 3 of 5 from the field, and those were all threes. He was 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. He had 9 of his 17 points there. And those were big points because that's when we were kind of at that point of the game where it's like, listen, how are the Rockets still in this thing? Why are the Phoenix Suns? And I already mentioned how, like the 3-point shooting and the lack of rebounding. I'm like, we got to put this team away. At no time did we fear that that we would lose to this team. But still, it was just like, come on, man, like, get this thing over with. And it was just like, boom, 3 Cam Johnson threes and, you know, game over.
And even if we were to pull away, then it's always like the comeback of the Rockets. So I feel like in these games where we go into it, we're like, you know what? It shouldn't be a game. And I said that earlier. I'm like, this should not be a game. You're like, yeah, I agree. But then also there's always those runs these teams make. So it's never going to be a pull away unless you go up by 40 or 30. Like, then it's like, okay, like this game might be over in the third quarter.
Yeah.
But it's just whenever the Suns want to turn it on now, it's kind of like the way DA used to be the last few years, where it's like when he wants to play, he'll play. Now it's like the Suns will do the same thing, but it wasn't like, it's not like they strained themselves too much though to put it away. It was just kind of easy. It was kind of weird. It was like when they started hitting those threes and stuff, I was like, all right, get ready for the pod, and just hearing it in the background, like, oh my God, this game's over. You know what I mean? So yeah, itchy stuff over here.
Itchy stuff indeed. Well, and I'll tell you this, you know, one thing to note about the Phoenix Suns is after this game, they have a 106.2 defensive rating, which is 4th best in the league.
Is
right?
It? Wow.
Yep. They have a 118.5 offensive rating, which is 2nd best in the league. And they have a 12.3 net rating, which is number 1 in the league. So the Phoenix Suns are doing just fine.
Nice.
They're doing just fine. So I think that we can, you know, again, there's opportunity always across the board. But I do think that, again, obviously, as fans of the Suns, we know that they're in a good place.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Today I met this cat. He said his name was Damien. He thinks that we're a lot alike and wants to be my friend.
I did want to talk a little bit about Damian Lee. Damian Lee is kind of what we were talking about with Jock Landale, right? Like, we thought Jock, we'd get a good game every 1 or 2 games, you know, maybe even every 3 games. All of a sudden it's like, hey, there was a really good Jock Landale game. And Jock's just been absolutely spectacular for the Phoenix. But when you talk about Damian Lee, he's that guy. He's the guy who's like every 3 or 4 games we're going to get a good game from him. Tonight, wasn't anything spectacular, but 11 minutes, he had 5 points. And I think they all came from the free throw line. He was 0 of 1 from the field, and it was deep. But he had that little kerfuffle, which was kind of funny for those of you who watched the game. There was a play in which the Suns were inbounding the ball. He got fouled because one of the young guys whose last name started with Junior kind of held up on him. And, he kind of put his hands up, and then he kind of walked through 2 guys.
Yeah.
Called because they were getting all pissed. And then he was just kind of laughing and walking away from it. And he kind of looked like the guy who backs his car into you and then tells you it was no big deal. He's like, no, it's no big deal. No, it's no big deal. You're like, dude, you hit my fucking car. He's like, no, no big deal. And that's what Damian looked like for me. Well, but defensively, his effort defensively in every appearance that he has is something that I've been really appreciative of. He's somebody who really plays bigger than who he is.
Sorry, hairball. I had to clear it out of there. I feel safe with the dude. I do. I think I know what you're talking about. He runs to your car. I mean, as long as there's not a baby on board, if that sticker's not on there, then it's okay.
Yeah,
I think he can
fair.
just, just drive away after that. He's a dude that plays really good against really bad teams. Like before, I said, yeah, he's going to be the good guy against bad teams, but I think it has to be really shitty teams for him to get minutes and come in, unless there's injuries. I do still trust him on the court. I just don't think he does too much that we expected. I think just the first game was just so killer with that, the game-winning shot and all that. You're like, oh, dude, this guy, we have a big shot dude to come off the court. But I don't see that a whole lot. I see him coming off the court, and of course, he was 5 for 5 from the free throw line. That's good. He's a physical guy. And you kind of want to have that tiff against this team in the Rockets where they think they can they're talking a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff
they
going
were
on
talking a lot of shit.
It was nonstop.
But
Yeah,
it was
but
what was
that's
funny about that play. Damian Lee walked over to the Suns bench, and all the Suns were kind of yeah, whatever. And all the Rockets were looking down there. They were all just down there talking shit down to the Suns because they're that young team that the Suns used to be, right? They were ready to just talk shit and engage and get fucking 10 technicals, just like the Suns used to always do, man.
Yeah, and then they ruin it. They get too aggressive, and Suns used to do this too, where it's it's a closer game towards the end, and then that thing happens with Lee, and then it kind of pulls away from them because they get too crazy, they get too into the technicals, and then all of a sudden we're shooting 10 free throws in a row because they just get too aggressive, and that's because they're so young and they'll figure that out. But the talking shit thing's gonna happen to the Suns all year long, of course. And I mean, every NBA team they have that. Every matchup, there's always a shit talking. But now it's gonna be up a notch. I mean, there's always gonna be things said about the Suns in last season, and even these young teams that they can take advantage of that. So I think it's okay. Oh, and I wanted to ask you really quick about Chris Paul. Did you see his? There was an interview about him saying the Suns are the hunters or the hunted. I don't know, and he was talking about this year. Oh, okay. Never. I'll talk about it later.
I did not see that. I
don't remember the whole thing. I was asking if you actually heard what he said. I just misheard him. So, he said something I didn't like, but I think I misheard him. So,
okay. Well, yeah, you have to send me that interview, and then we'll review it on the next pod.
Okay.
Do you think that this young Rockets team will grow out of that shit talking mentality?
No,
it doesn't matter.
Fuck them. I don't care. Keep talking shit all the time, you stupid Rockets. Do whatever you want to do over there.
We need to bring my mom on here and do that to her. So it actually means it doesn't matter to me anymore if that happens. So it makes someone feel really bad.
Yeah. Well, you got me the other day and that made me feel really bad. So
you got sick off of it. You're all sick tonight.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm sick. My sciatic nerve is killing me as per usual because I still haven't had that fixed. So, and then I'm coughing because I'm sick. And every time I cough, my sciatic nerve fires. So I'm just in pain.
And you got to wash your hair too.
Oh man, which is a great segment. It's time to when I talk about being in pain.
Here comes the pain.
Because that's what I'm in. I'm in pain. But Cameron Payne tonight looked absolutely fantastic. 5 of 12 from the field. He was 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. It felt like he had a couple more makes there. But he had 12 points, had 4 assists. 12 and 4. We've talked about this. You get double figures from Payne and you get 4 or 5 assists. It's a solid game from Cam Payne.
Yeah, but also when he first came in the game, he's give me the ball, give me the ball. Coming out of bounds, he's just so excited to be there. You could tell the flow in his step. he's really feeling it. And he came out great. He hit his three, and then he had a nice pass to Jock inside again. And you were like, okay, more of that, more of that. And then it kind of stopped a little bit. It kind of seemed like there was one play. God, I cannot remember what it was, but I remember I think he turned the ball over. He turned the ball over. I think he threw it too hard at Craig, and it kind of went off his chest or his shoulder and went out of bounds.
Sounds like a Kyler Murray pass.
Yeah, exactly, dude. 49 points. So I was just thinking like, oh, here we go, man. Like if Payne is like, if he just gets in his head, it's gonna be a long night because he does. He made that play and he was kind of like grabbing his head and like, oh, why did I do that? But like that's the thing he doesn't really do if he's having a good game like throughout. Tonight, it kind of seemed like he did kind of take a little bit of step back after such a good start, but then he hit a big three late in the game. And just seemed like the passing kind of stopped, like the flow of the offense. Like, but him and Craig and Jock, they're so good together. I feel like, just kind of, it's not like a triangle offense, but the way they play one side of the court, like it flows so nice. So I want to see more and more of that. I wanted the passing to keep going, but he kind of became a ball hog late in the game, shooting a couple threes and going for a layup that looked nasty. Other than that, it was a good game. It just seemed like he kind of got in his head a little bit later in the game, which is like I thought he would kind of move past that by now. But he'll have those games once in a while where Monty needs to be like, "Hey, chill out a little bit. Come on, just chill out a little bit, man."
You need to settle down. All right, Low Suns asks a great question. Is it safe to say that Campaign's back, Matthew?
Not yet. Give me like 2 months.
Bingo.
2 months.
I completely agree. I think that we're seeing flashes of Campaign, the same Campaign that we saw in the Orlando bubble and in that 2021 playoff run. We're seeing the flashes. He's quick. He's fast. He's effective. He's got the energy. Everything that we want from Campaign. But I can't take it over a 6-game sample size. I need to see it for like 2 months. Like if New Year's comes around or even Christmas comes around and Campaign is putting up, the efficiency, if it's 12 points, 5 to 6 rebounds in the minutes he's playing, he's doing so in an efficient manner. Like, yeah, hell yeah, he's back. And this team, the backbone of this team is going to be the bench, as it has been so far. So is he looking great? Absolutely. I'm not going to discredit him in any way, shape, or form. Is he back yet? I don't know if he's back all the way yet because we need to see it consistently. And I think
too
that's
emotional.
What it comes down to. Yeah, needs to have some of that. Yeah, we just need to see it. It's going to take a little bit of time. Anything we missed from your notes, Matthew?
Let me go through them actually really quick. You know what? Shamit's just looking amazing, I feel like.
Well, let's give him a drop then.
All I can say is, Sham, wow.
Landry Shamet tonight, coming off the bench as per usual. 15 minutes. He had 10 points on 3 of 6 shooting, which included 2 of 5 from beyond the arc, 2 of 4 from the free throw line. He did have 2 steals as well, 1 assist and 1 rebound, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, he looks awesome. I think he looks like a different player this year. He really does. Like everything from his shot to his defense. I mean, his defense was pretty good last year. Defense is looking good. Of course, there was shit talking going on between him and someone too. I forget which one. I think it was Jabari Parker. And but his game is just kind of like, it's just more, I guess it's evolved in a way, but I don't really know Shamit's career to really say like, oh, he's evolving, because I don't know what he looked like the year before last year. This is just a new Shamit. It just looks like a guy that is doing what he's supposed to be doing. And it sucks because every time we talk about him, I say the same fucking thing, I feel like, but that's how simple it has to be. That's how simple his game is. Dude. That's all he's got to do is do that.
Was that you doing Forrest Gump?
No, that's Queen Elizabeth. Oh, wait, she passed away. I'm sorry, dude. Man, sorry, that's really actually rude.
You're Queen Elizabeth's ghost now. Wow.
Yeah.
No, you're right, though. I mean, the way that he's been playing, more than acceptable. Exactly, again, what we need from the guy. Come in, hit some threes, play some good defense. Do we want more from Shamet? I think we do. Again, if he is a guy who's coming out and he is averaging, 12 points, like that is a perfect world for the Phoenix Suns. Currently to this point, he's not there. He isn't getting all those points. He's not getting all those shots off, but he does look more confident in his shots. And that's something that I felt like, remember how we talk a lot, how last season he take just a lot of unbalanced 3-pointers, right? Falling away, falling to the side, falling backwards, leaning into all the time last season. Like this year, he's really just squaring up and shooting. And there's no surprise that he's shooting a lot better because of it. So 100%, I think that Landry Shamet looking really good so far.
Yep. And really quick, next time we talk about Shamit, I swear I'll say something different. I feel like I have the same notes every pod. Got to switch it up, make it sound better.
I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Chris Paul, man. 3 of 7 from the field. He was 0 of 4 from beyond the arc. 10 points, 15 assists. Like, this blueprint for Chris Paul has been fantastic. His usage rate is down, and I'm okay with it. What's so funny?
Nothing. Chris Paul makes me laugh. Sorry.
Okay, tell me why. Why does he make you laugh, Ice King or whatever?
He every time he walks to the bench, I feel like he just looks like he's in pain or something or discomfort.
Like,
every time he's done playing. So
it's like me when I'm sitting around on the couch with a sciatic nerve issue. I just always look like I'm in pain.
Yeah.
It's like we're over at your sister's house today, and I'm eating cake, and even as I'm eating cake, I'm just in pain. I was like,
so what we do is when John comes over, we just ignore him and put him in the corner. Just get on, just like ignore him. Be like, oh yeah,
it's fine. I just want to be ignored. I wish I was.
You do.
I wish I was ignored to the point where I didn't have to go. Like, can I sit on the couch at home? Like, I got to drive all the way down there. Like, shit, my ass is killing me.
I know, dude. I love it.
But 10 and 15 for Chris Paul, man. I mean, we're talking about this next stage of his career. This is exactly it. It's productive, it's beautiful, and it's painful, apparently.
It's beautifully. Yeah, pain is beauty, right?
And beauty is pain.
Beauty is pain.
And beauty is pain.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
So there I was, hanging out on the Rockets subreddit in my disguise, as you can see. I didn't go as Forrest Gump. I went as me, John, Suns fan, hanging out there, just hearing what they have to say. And here's what some of the Rockets fans on their subreddit said. Quit being a pain in the ass, you little rat-faced fuck. That was their first observation of Cameron Payne.
It's like, were they talking about Payne?
They're talking about. They wrote Payne in Cameron Payne's, the way that he spells it. And I thought that was pretty funny because, he was one of those guys who was cooking them, and then Jock Landale started to go off. Somebody said Landale is as weak as his hair. I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he balding kind of in the back or no?
No, he's got like a mohawk. He's got like a faux
Yeah, no,
hawk.
but it kind of looks like he's thinning a little bit in the back. I don't know. He's too tall to notice for some people.
No one will even notice. But then he started to cook more, and then somebody said, Jock Dude cooked Sengun, Garuba, and Jabari in the first half. And then somebody said, in quotations, why doesn't Sengun play more? Sengun, right? It's Sengun?
I think so, yeah.
Sengun for the Rockets. He's a second-year player. Tonight, he played 29 minutes. He had 16 points and 9 boards. And a lot of the Rockets fans are talking about him because they don't know if they like him or not, right? Like, he's productive, but he's not really physical. He's more finesse. It's kind of like a DA thing, right? Like, he can put up numbers, but because he's not jamming it down, Suns jam session it down, they're not necessarily happy. So, yeah, somebody put, why doesn't Sengun play more? Meanwhile, some bum named Landale is 16 points at the half when he averages 9 for the year. So they were kind of utilizing the Landale performance as a reason as to why, he wasn't like, this is the why. And this, like, tell me we haven't done this with DA in the past. It's like, DA, man, you got to be a max player. DA, man, you got to be a max player. And then, like, he goes up against, I don't know, who's the kid in Orlando who played, Wendell Carter. And then, like, Wendell Carter will cook him. And we're like, see, that's why not.
Yeah. Same exact thing. So you're saying we're all the same, right? Yeah. We are.
Every fan base
is
the
of
same.
One head.
Every fan base is the same. And then then a little bit of talk on their actual team. They didn't have a lot of bad shit to say about the Suns. That was the nice thing. Like, typically, as we've gone through and we've done these subreddit stakeouts, especially considering the teams that we've played thus far this season, the Mavericks, the Warriors, the Clippers, the Pelicans, a team we played in the playoffs last year. Like, these are teams that have a very special disdain for the Phoenix Suns because their team, these are teams that the Phoenix Suns, 3 of the teams, we've played in the playoffs recently, and the Warriors, we're a Pacific Division rival. So they definitely have a lot of shit to say. The Rockets really didn't have that, but it was interesting to hear kind of how they were observing their team, much akin to how we would observe our team. Somebody said, I'm so down on Jalen Green lately. Looks exactly like the beginning of last year. Bad news. And then somebody responded to that, and they said he's still struggling to leverage his athleticism for easy baskets. When he goes to the rim, he's not changing pace. He looks like Worstbrook out there, just charging ahead with no plan. We've seen him with more control than this, so I think it's entirely mental. He needs the coaching staff or a vet to tell him how to slow down and chill. And, what a great observation that person made, right?
Yeah.
Because how
But
athletic is Jalen Green, right?
But that's exciting. Then next year you could be like, oh, he switches speeds now. That's the most exciting thing to say about any player when they're young and they grow and mature.
It's like Booker.
He's changing speeds. Yeah.
Well, Thomas Dennett says it. He says, sounds like a Suns podcast from 2018. Isn't that the truth?
It is. It is. Definitely, dude. That's the one thing you wait for. And then when you see it, you're like, oh my God, it's awesome.
Yeah. It's, it's like, it's just funny how they say that. Knicks is another guy who they were absolutely fucking trashing in this. Deshaun Nix, 12 minutes, had 0 points, 0 for 2 from the field, was a -6 in this game. And the observation, somebody said, is Nix our Ben Simmons? They've got the same, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing eyes.
Yeah, that sounds like the Suns from 2018 too.
Yeah, when we're talking about Josh
Bender.
Jackson. Bender.
Yeah, that was Bender, 100%. Poor dude.
Yeah, Josh Jackson couldn't slow down at the rim. That was more of a Jalen Smith.
Yeah, and he still doesn't. He still goes
doesn't.
one speed to the side and throws it up off the glass.
Well, even Cam Payne tonight, when he had that one fast break, even he knew to slow down and just get the layup and just try to kind of play it strategically. I thought that was,
and
then
that's the exciting part about watching these guys grow.
And then the last thing that one of the people said that I thought was kind of a good ending point for our subreddit stakeout, somebody on the Houston Rockets subreddit said, thank God we have the Astros.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I would change back into my Forrest Gump thing, but it's way too much of a pain in the ass to put hair back on. So you're just going to have to look at me like this for the rest of the podcast.
I'm just shrinking over here.
Slowly. You're melting.
I'm just I'm melting. That's what I look like.
Let's get into the Jam Star.
Jam Star of the Game.
All right, Jamster, this is a reminder. If you're watching along live on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. If you're on Facebook or Twitter and you're watching, go to YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. If you're listening to this podcast, go to YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. Or you should subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're doing. And let us know in the chat who your Jam Star of the Game is. Matthew. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Booker. Happy birthday, Booker. I mean, 30 points again, looked fantastic. Landell's a close second but it was him and Landell in the second quarter that just kind of set the tone. But it's definitely Devin Booker on his 26th birthday. How far this kid has come, how much. I mean, Matthew, you've known me the entire time pretty much. Devin Booker's been on this team. I used to fucking rag on this guy, man. I used to rag on him. I used to have so many issues with his game because I thought there were so many holes in it. To see him continue to improve to the point where it's like, I watch him, I'm like, this is just he's so good. He's so fucking good. I'm so glad he's on my team. Easily, for this fifth time this season, he's my Jam Star of the Game.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to him too. And I think it's because of the points. I think it's because he's getting to 30 points again. That's what we want. We're selfish. We want that. I think he earns it for that reason. Otherwise, Jock is always right there. He's always right there, especially playing big minutes, man.
Yeah.
24 minutes, 23 and a half minutes tonight. That's pretty cool. Filling in. And Booker, happy birthday. Go out, be Woody and Jesse tomorrow, tonight, whenever you're going to go to downtown Scottsdale. Have fun, And I think Booker, I think he's really taking Kendall away from that family more and more. I think Kendall's the one that is more normal, and that the whole team. That whole family is just so involved with the elites and stuff. So it's just with all the Kanye stuff going on and stuff, I always kind of worry, is Book the next one going to be broken? But I don't know how he's done it. I think he's just with the right Kardashian. So I don't know why I brought that up. I thought of Kanye stuff going on.
He's Book. That's why.
Yeah, he's so chill.
He's just different, man. He's different. Next up for the Phoenix Suns, Tuesday night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, 4-3
Nice.
are the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've beat who did they beat twice so far? They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder twice, and they've played the Spurs already 3 times, and they've lost to them twice. So they're a very interesting team. And any thoughts going into this game? Because obviously, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's gonna be interesting. I really thought Anthony Edwards would be the guy to really step up and be one of like the guys that might be one of the top 2 guards in the All-Star game. And now it's like kind of a weird start for him. I feel like there was comments made about him eating whatever he was eating, and Karl Anthony Towns talked about how he doesn't like him talking about that. Now Towns seems like the guy that's going to be the leader on the team, maybe. But now you can kind of see in the box score like how Gobert and Towns, like Gobert's numbers are way down now at the past 2 games, and Towns still has the numbers, but they're still losing. And I thought Edwards would be that leader maybe, but he's not, man. So I don't know what's going on with this team. I think they got to kind of even out before the trade deadline or something's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you look at tonight, Karl Anthony Towns had 26 points and 11 rebounds, but he was a negative 22 on the game. Rudy Gobert, to your point, 9 and 12. Anthony Edwards had 18 points. D'Lo, 10 points. They're a team that on paper looks great, but they're still trying, much akin to the Clippers, they're a team that's still trying to figure out their chemistry, because when you take Karl Anthony Towns, who's your 5, and you move him to the 4, and then you put Rudy Gobert in the middle of that, like there's going to be some adjustment time, and they're still in the adjustment time. So it'll be interesting to see how they play the Phoenix Suns, because obviously they're going to have size against the Suns. Bismack Biyombo, you can't go out and get in foul trouble like you did today. And Jock Landale, you can't come in behind and get in foul trouble, because if Torrey Craig's playing center because we are in too much foul trouble, like we will be in trouble, because they will take advantage of that interior. So I'm interested to see how it goes on Tuesday night, but I do think that the Phoenix Suns win that game.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because, they give up 17. The Suns did give up 17 offensive rebounds tonight. It's probably going to happen again next game. The shooting from the Wolves, I don't know how good it is. I mean, you do have Towns. D'Lo, he's so hit and miss, and he's more miss than he's hit. Anthony Edwards is not very good from anywhere but by the rim right now. So if they can hit their shots like the Timberwolves' second chance shots, then it's going to be tough for the Suns. But like tonight, when the Rockets really couldn't get those second chance points, then it kind of helps. So that's going to be the thing, man. If they can they're going to give up offensive rebounds, but if the Timberwolves just miss those, that might just be the game.
Yep, 100%. And know that the Timberwolves, they're currently 4th in the NBA in pace. They're a team that likes to get out and run. So that's going to be a contrasting style against the Phoenix Suns, because we're typically one of those teams that likes to play with a slower pace. We're 24th in the league in pace played. So it's kind of like the Rockets tonight. Like the Phoenix Suns, for instances, were getting out and they were playing with the pace that the Rockets were playing with, and they were allowed to dictate the pace, because the Rockets are 5th in the league in pace. But once the Phoenix Suns kind of slowed down and said, hey, we're going to impose our will, we're going to play our brand of basketball, then they took over that game, and they ultimately won in the 4th. With the Minnesota Timberwolves, they have a lot more talent on both sides of the court. And again, if they're trying to play with that pace, it'll be interesting to see how the Phoenix Suns respond. Can they keep up, or are they going to try to slow them down? Ultimately, I think that's what's going to determine who wins that game on Tuesday.
Yep. And Nicholas Tan asks, how would Jock and Sarge look playing together? We'll never know, because Sarge will never play. So
yeah, we'll let you know after he gets traded to the Brooklyn Nets for KD straight up, because aren't the Nets have the Nets won one game?
Yeah, they're
1-5, and the Lakers just won tonight, so they're 1-5.
And there's just
the
media thing too, both sides. Like there's the thing with Kyrie where it's always
Kyrie's just it's not just when you think it can't get any worse with Kyrie Irving, he figures out a way to make it worse.
Well, okay, the thing is with Kyrie though, he's not. I told before the season started, I'm like, this guy's not into playing basketball really.
No,
like he plays it as a job now, but it's not the focus. So things like he's doing right now that are hurting the team, he doesn't really care. It's not like he's a selfish thing, but he's just trying to prove points. He's on his own agenda right now.
He's
and
like
I'm not
Kanye
against
right
it.
Now.
He's like what?
He's like Kanye right now.
Yeah, and I'm not against it. I'm not against what he's doing or what he's saying. Some of the stuff he says is true to me, but it's just like if he's going to go out there and keep doing that, that hurts the team. If you're focused on basketball, that's all that matters to you is winning. Like Kevin Durant, you can't be on that team. So the trade should happen soon.
Yeah, I'm with Nikki Tan in the chat. Kyrie is forever delusional. I don't agree with a lot of things that he's saying because, again, he's like Hannah Montana right now. He wants the best of both worlds. He's sitting there, he's getting arguments with people because they're like, he's like, hey, listen, I'm a professional athlete. I have a platform, so I'm going to use it. And then they're like, well, why are you promoting anti-Semitism? He's like, well, what do you mean promoting? He's like, well, you're putting it out there on your social media. He's like, oh, well, I'm a human just like everybody else. Like the guy, he's trying to justify things he's doing. And it's kind of like Kanye too. It's just, I don't know. It's very weird.
Well, it's hard.
stuff
It's
going
hard
on
to
there.
get your point across when it's the media. And I understand like what he was saying. He was saying it wasn't anti-Semitic because he was doing the Alex Jones thing, and it was a
Yeah.
thing from a long time ago. The thing is, he's gonna put stuff out there for attention. And when it comes back to him and he's hit with that question, he'll answer it, but he won't go into detail of anything else. And I don't know if they're delusional or not, dude. This whole world is honestly delusional, and a lot of us got to wake the fuck up. So,
Well, I just think that with great power comes great responsibility, and you have to respect that responsibility. And he doesn't respect that responsibility. He wants to be normal, just like everybody else, but he doesn't. At the same time, he wants to get paid millions and millions of dollars to play a game, but at the same time, like he wants to be normal, like everyone else. It's like, dude, you got to pick your poison, man. Like, stop playing the fucking game. Then go do what Kanye's doing. Go around the fucking country and tell everyone how you feel. And
they
back
both
it up.
lost a lot of money. Last year, he lost a ton of money not playing any games.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's hard to know with these guys. You just have to have a good Joe Rogan 3-hour podcast to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Again, happy Halloween to everybody. Be safe tomorrow if you're hanging out down in downtown Scottsdale with Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner. Say what's up. Tell them the Suns Jam Session podcast says hello. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Suns Jam, on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. You can follow me at Darth Voida. You can follow Matthew
At Matthew Lissy.
And we'll be coming to you live once again on Tuesday after the Suns play the Minnesota Timberwolves. Have a great night, everybody. Have another Dr. Pepper.
Go home and love your Kanye's.
No.